All right, so before we begin chapter 14, just a quick comment on the Internet Archive. The website has been down, and so if you look in the description of this YouTube channel, you should now see a link to the PDF download from a different source. All right, so the first declension is words with a pattern, and these words end with an alpha in their stem. So we've got a list here. All of these words have an eta in the ending. Everything on the column of the left has an acute accent on the ultima, and the words on the right have an accent on the penult. All of these substantives of the first declension with an alpha stem are considered feminine in gender. They are declined as follows, and we have two words here. Phone, the accent is on the ultima, and in the example of come, we have our accent on the penult. Take note of the definite article in the locative, instrumental, and dative of the singular. You will see an iota subscript on those. Let me just zoom in. There's that iota subscript. Notice how in the singular that eta is retained throughout the singular, and in the plural we are dealing with an alpha. And that's for both of these words. And again, you can kind of compare the accent placement on the ultima versus the penult on these. And I do have an example sheet for these, and I'll have that in the description, probably on the homework video. Notice that the stem ends in alpha, which is why these are the alpha declension or the first declension. In regards to the nominative plural with an alpha iota ending, that I ending, in terms of accent placement, it is considered to be short. It is not a diphthong. In point 92, we have that alpha iota sigma ending in the locative, instrumental, and dative in the plural. When we have that accent on the last syllable on the ultima, and the example we have is phone, and we also have another example of zoe, these are called oxytones, and they are always going to have the circumflex accent on the oblique cases, which is the genitive, ablative, locative, instrumental, and dative case. In the plural, in the genitive and ablative, they're always going to have an own ending with that circumflex, omega nu. And it doesn't matter where the accent is in the nominative singular when it's concerning the genitive and ablative plural. So when you see that own ending, you can pretty much pin it on the genitive and the ablative case in the plural. And that's probably one of the first things you're going to be recognizing, in all honesty. And to note, the feminine definite article, it does have the breathing mark, but there is no accent. That is very important in that later on, when we do accent these words, it's going to take a different meaning. So for now, just know that while it does retain the breathing mark, there is no accent on the definite article in the feminine. It is still the. And again, when there is no accent on a word, it's considered a proclitic. They're paired with the following word. They're kind of a pair, and they are pronounced together. That brings us to the exercise. So in that video, look for this other handout on the accent placement for first declension, and then the worksheet.